Sige, everyone, turn on your cameras, then let's start. Sige. So, clear akong idea, no?
Yes, Doc.
Sige. So, let's start. So, sorry kayo, mag-zoom lang karon no kay I'm on the duty pa. Sige. So, for today, we're gonna discuss two parts. So, one would be anatomy of the neck, and then another one would be deep neck infection. So, try to kuan lang absorb as much as you can. Pero quick na siya. Sige, so let's start. So for the neck, always know, again, no, boundaries of the neck. So superiorly, skull base. Inferiorly would be skull base, kani, and then inferior border of the mandible. So yeah, mag-start ang imuhang neck. And then inferiorly would be your thoracic inlet or your clavicle. Okay, so that comprises your neck. So anterior posterior part na siya. Sige, ma'am. Sige. So with the neck, so you have, okay. So for the neck, you have different triangles. So you can further subdivide your neck into different triangles. So what divides the neck would be your sternocleidomuscle, no? So take note of that. Your SCM. So it divides it into anterior triangle and your posterior triangle. So this is how you divide your neck. Okay. So also take note sa imong SCM. It has two heads. So your clavicular head and also your sternal head. So one attaches to the clavicle while the other one attaches to your sternum. Okay? So this is your anterior triangle and this is your posterior triangle. So what's important is that if you can recall no, or na-discuss na mga different lymph nodes sa neck. So they are grouped no, into different groups. So it's helpful to know no, sa mga different na triangles. Sige. So how do we divide? So first, let's start with the anterior triangle of the neck. So anteriorly would be the midline of the neck. Posteriorly would be the anterior margin of your SCM. Kani? No? And then superiorly would be the inferior margin of your mandible. And then inferior apex would be your sternum. Okay, so going back, kani. And then this one, the midline. And then, so your anterior triangle is further subdivided into into parts, no? So it depends. So first would be your suprahyoid, infrahyoid. Another one would be your digastric, submental, and then your carotid. So this is a nice illustration by Natters. This is uh, anterior view of your neck. Okay. So let's start with the suprahyoid and your infrahyoid. So basically, you just imagine a line along, crossing along your hyoid bone. Okay. So above it, superior to it, will be your suprahyoid group. Then infrahyoid group would be your below your infrahyoid, going to your clavicle and your sternum. Sige. So another triangle would be your digastric triangle. Can. So it is bordered superiorly by your inferior margin of your mandible, then posterior inferiorly by the posterior belly of the digastric muscle. So take note, your digastric muscle has two bellies, no? Your anterior belly and your posterior belly. So both form the border of your digastric triangle. Okay? And then the floor would be your mylohyoid muscle. Mylohyoid. Sige. So its content would be first, kato kong mention no, itong different lymph nodes. So your level 1B lymph nodes. And then your submandibular gland. Actually, your digastric triangle is also called your submandibular triangle. And then your facial vein and your facial artery is also found in that triangle. So next would be your submental triangle. So its borders, so the apex of your triangle would be formed by the mandible or the chin. The base would be the body of the hyoid. And then the floor, the same with the digastric, would be your mylohyoid muscle. And the content or the lateral boundaries would be the anterior belly of both left and right na mga anterior belly of your digastric. So this one. Okay? So its content, primarily lymph node and also fat. No? Muna yung inyong makuan, makita sa mga double chin, no? Mostly fat. Sige. So next would be your carotid triangle. Another important triangle sa neck where vital structures is seen. So the borders posteriorly would be your sternocleidomastoid muscle. Antero-inferiorly would be your superior belly of the omohyoid. Kani, this is your omohyoid. So the same with your digastric, your omohyoid has two bellies, superior belly and also your inferior belly. Kani, sige. And then superiorly, your carotid triangle is bounded by the styloid process and the posterior belly of your digastric muscle. So what can be found in the carotid triangle? Your kana for the name itself, no, common carotid artery. So the point where you can appreciate no kanang your carotid na pulse is along the level of your hyoid bone. Okay? So important na siya nga landmark because at the level of your hyoid bone is where the two carotid arteries, the internal and external carotid, no, branch out from the common carotid. So, nga na sila mo branch. Okay? Take note of that. And then, also your internal jugular vein. And then, within your carotid sheath is also your vagus nerve, your hypoglossal nerve, and basically your cervical lymph nodes, levels 2 to 3. Sige. So, let's go to the posterior triangle. Posterior to your SCM. So it can be further subdivided into two, you know, your occipital and also your supraclavicular. So what divides the two triangles would be your omohyoid, the inferior belly of your omohyoid muscle. So it can further be divided no, into your muscular triangle. So actually it's more of a quadrangular in shape no, compared to a triangle. But basically this area no, would be your level 6 nodes of your corresponds to your level 6 nodes. So the boundary anteriorly would be your median line from the hyoid to the sternum, and then infero superiorly would be your superior belly of the omohyoid, this one, and then postero superiorly would be the superior belly of your omohyoid. Sternocleido dito, sorry, ang imong inferior posterior. So contents, strap muscles, no? So they wrap the thyroid gland, or they are anteriorly located from your thyroid gland. So this is your thyroid gland, so mani mong strap muscles. And also you can appreciate your cervical trachea. So honey, so this is what I mentioned, why it's important to know the different triangles lang of your neck, because you can imagine or easily memorize the different cervical lymph nodes. So always remember for the different groups of lymph nodes, only level 1A or your mental or submental triangle and your level 6 no, has no laterality. So walay left ug right. Ang naray left ug right is first your level 2 level 3, level 4, and level 6. Okay? Sige. So next, in order to fully know the different ng mga etiologies or mga spread of infection or even mga malignancies, you should know the different planes of the neck. So the gunshot layers. Okay? So this is our next topic. So cervical fascial planes. So it could guide us how and how to treat kanang mga different pathways of can be hemorrhage and also your infection. See, so the neck has two major cervical fascia. So one would be your superficial cervical fascia, and then another one would be your deep cervical fascia. So your deep cervical fascia is further subdivided into three: your superficial layer, your middle layer, and then your deep layer. Okay? So this would really come out sa kuan exam. So be familiar with the different layers. So let's start with the superficial cervical fascia. So this is a thin lamina covering your platysma and is hardly demonstrable as a separate layer. So combined na siya with the platysma. So not a separate stratum, but merely a zone of loose connective tissue between the dermis and the deep fascia, and is joined to both. No, so it contains your platysma, cutaneous nerves, and your vessels. So your superficial cervical fascia is like a connection or continuous with your kanang sa abdomen. So wherein your superficial fascia in the abdomen contains two layers. So your fatty, Camper's fascia, and your deep and membranous or your Scamper's fascia. So familiar na siya, no? So same rin na siya sa neck, no? Superficial cervical. So this is a good illustration. So this is your platysma, kaning sa outer skin, subcutaneous, and then your platysma. So actually, knowing the platysma, no, or the superficial cervical fascia, is a good way, to start your surgery, because usually any operation in the neck would involve raising your superior flap, no, because this layer for sure doesn't have bleeders, so they only contain loose connective tissue. So if you can see, this is your platysma, and you're trying to develop your layer, anterior or your superior flap within that layer. Yeah, ma-access na nimo without any bleeding any organ that you plan to operate. Okay? So it is an avascular plane. Sige. So question from our previous discussions, what innervates the platysma? What cranial nerve?
7.
Your facial nerve, no? So your facial nerve innervates your platysma. What branch? So facial nerve.
Cervical.
Very good, no? Your cervical branch of your facial nerve. Good, naminaw. Sige. Next, your deep cervical fascia. So for your deep cervical fascia, it is further subdivided into three layers. No? Your superficial layer, middle layer, and your deep layer. So ayaw, don't be confused with the superficial layer of the deep cervical with the superficial cervical fascia, ha? Lahi na siya. Sige. So let's start with the superficial layer of the deep cervical fascia, or also known as your investing layer. So it is the outer layer after your superficial cervical fascia. So it encloses, no, or envelopes the following structure: your SCM, trapezius, strap muscles, submandibular gland, and also your parotid gland. So in this illustration, so this is the red na highlighted. That's your superficial layer of your deep cervical fascia. Okay. Sige. So next, let's go to the middle layer of your deep cervical fascia, or also known as your visceral or your pretracheal layer, because this layer envelopes your thyroid gland, larynx, pharynx, trachea, esophagus, and also your infrahyoid strap muscles. So superiorly, it attaches to the hyoid bone and inferiorly continues with the superior mediastinum. No? And laterally merges with your investing layer. So for this illustration, so kani actually different na mga color, pero usually this is your kuan. This is a eggshell cut dahil sa neck. This is your thyroid gland. This is your trachea. This is your esophagus. So this is your visceral layer or your investing layer. Next, let's go to the deep layer of your deep cervical fascia. So also known as the prevertebral layer. So prevertebral because it's in close proximity with your cervical vertebra. So actually it surrounds the deep muscles of the neck and also your cervical vertebra. So the following muscles are as follows. So your levator scapula, your different scalenus muscles, and also your longus colli and capitis. So in this illustration, so the orange na kuan highlighted, this is the deep layer of your uh, deep cervical fascia. Sige, so another fascia or special group of compartments that are space would be your carotid sheath. So this is a combination or condensation of the three layers of your deep cervical fascia. So basically, they enclose the common and internal carotid arteries, the internal jugular vein, the vagus nerve, and also your ansa cervicalis. So kani take note ni common ni mugawa sa exam no what what's the component no of your carotid sheath. So for sure kabalo naman yung vagus nerve no cranial nerve always gonna siya dikit sa imong carotid na artery. So thicker around the arteries than the vein and arrangement that allows the vein to expand. So that's why bigger ang imuhang kuan, IJV. And then periphery, the carotid sheath is connected to adjacent fascial layers by loose areolar tissue. So in this illustration, so this is your carotid sheath. Always lateral would be your kuan, IJV. No, that's why it's bigger and it's more kuan kanang it doesn't less muscle compared to your artery pero it can engorge no mo dilate sa kay na siya. So always medial ang imuhang carotid artery. Okay. So now that you know the different fascial layers pa, so that now would be kuan let's go to the different planes or spaces potential spaces kay in between those layers infection or tumors could spread. Sir, napa ko, sir? No. Could spread no in between the layers. So example would be kanyo, this is your uh, retropharyngeal space. Kani? And then any infection occurring in between no sa imong vertebra would be a prevertebral space. Okay? So discuss na nato. So another sagittal cut now of your neck to show the different spaces would be this. So this is another view sa different nga fascial plane. So remember lang kaning alar fascia, kaning prevertebral fascia, and kaning imong bucopharyngeal or your visceral fascia. Okay? Niya, take note asa sila mag-start. Always in the skull base, but they differ asa mo end. Okay? For your bucopharyngeal fascia, mo end na siya along the hyoid bone, while for your alar fascia, maabot na siya padung sa sternum, no? Or actually the space of the alar or the alar space could reach up to the diaphragm or the mediastinum. So that's why most infection initially sa superiorly can reach inferiorly, leading to a high mortality rate ng mga infection. Sige. So let's discuss the actually organs lang na sa neck. Very important gihapon. Your thyroid gland. Okay, so it is enclosed within the visceral layer, the deep cervical fascia. So color would be brownish red and kani highly vascular. Actually, your thyroid gland, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the most vascularized organ in the body because it's primarily involved in your metabolism. Okay, so its location anteriorly in the lower neck, so along the level of your fifth cervical to the first thoracic vertebra. Sometimes yun ang first thoracic, deep na kaya na siya. So take note of the weight. Actually, it depends on the sources. Some would say 15 to 25. So this one's taken on gray, while on the Cummings, murag 25, murag 10 to 20 man siguro. Saka na lang. So it has different lobes. So you can have your two lobes, isthmus, and also an accessory lobe, pyramidal lobe. So kaning, this is your pyramidal lobe. So both your left and right is connected by your isthmus. So this is your isthmus. Okay. And then familiarize the different measurements of your dimension. So according to Gray, 5 cm in height, 3 cm in width, and 2 cm in depth. Okay? While in Cummings, in our sa ENT na mga mother book, it's 4.5 cm, 1.5 cm, and by 2 cm. So dili ra kayo grabe ang difference. Okay? So why do we need to know the dimension? Because in radiology or in ultrasound, no, if you can see results, they often claim na enlarged ang thyroid. So when do we know if it's enlarged? So if the dimension is more no compared to the normal, so you should know the normal yun, dimension. Sige. So next would be the surface relation of the thyroid gland. So this is your thyroid gland. So laterally are two important vessels, your common carotid artery and also your internal jugular vein. So based on experience, when you reach the thyroid gland, usually good ang in close proximity would be your carotid artery. Actually na din kag kabalaka na kay kusog ka na nga mo palpate, no? Ay mo kuan mo pulsate, sorry. And then superiorly, your thyroid cartilage. So this is your thyroid cartilage of the laryngeal framework. And inferiorly would be your sternal notch. Okay? So some thyroid gland would reach, no, even your thoracic area. Then anteriorly would be your strap muscles. So these are your different strap muscles. Then posteriorly would be your cricoid cartilage, cervical trachea. Okay? And then also posterior surface of your thyroid gland would be your parathyroid glands. And then underneath it, in close proximity would also be your recurrent laryngeal nerve. Sige. So this is a posterior view, no, of your pharynx and also your esophagus. So this is it's like you're looking at it backwards at the back. So this is your pharynx and this is your esophagus. While laterally would be your thyroid gland, no? Lateral posterior surface of your thyroid gland. Kaniyo, makita ninyo kanyung mga brown. So this is your parathyroid gland. Okay? Then this one, unsa man nga nerve? Posterior sa mong thyroid. Anyone lang. Important nga nerve. Kani akong gi-point.
Laryngeal nerve.
Recurrent laryngeal nerve.
Recurrent laryngeal nerve. Unsa ang cranial nerve ganina? Ang recurrent
Tenlo.
vagus nerve. Sige, good. Sige, so take note ang arteries. So major arterial supply is duha na siya, superior thyroid artery and also your inferior thyroid artery. So take note of their branches, where they come from. For your superior thyroid, it comes from your external carotid artery. Actually, this is the first branch of your external carotid artery from the bifurcation sa common carotid, no? So superior thyroid artery, first branch. Then your inferior thyroid artery comes from your thyrocervical trunk. Okay? So muna siyang major or main blood supply. Sometimes you also have your thyroid ema artery supplying your isthmus. Okay? So for your veins, you have three veins: superior thyroid, middle thyroid, and your inferior thyroid, all of which drains to your your internal jugular vein. See, another important structure when we discuss about the thyroid gland would be your laryngeal nerve, or your also your vagus nerve. Actually, your vagus nerve has two branches. So your superior laryngeal nerve, this one, and also your recurrent laryngeal nerve. Other name of your recurrent would be your inferior laryngeal nerve. Okay, let's start with the superior laryngeal nerve. So it has again two branches. So you have your internal branch, which is mainly sensation, provides sensation sa larynx. So the area would be up to the epiglottis, up to the glottis. So it is supplied by the internal branch of the superior laryngeal nerve, while the external branch of your SLN would supply the motor unit of your cricothyroid muscle. So this is the only muscle, no? This is the only intrinsic laryngeal muscle that is not supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve and instead supplied by your SLN. Okay? So action sa imong cricothyroid is for high pitch. So that's why if ever you have injuries to your SLN, patients cannot reach high pitch. So next would be your RLN, recurrent laryngeal nerve, or also known as your inferior laryngeal nerve. So recurrent because it recurs on two structures. So for the left, your aortic arch, then for the right is your subclavian artery. Okay? And then sometimes, in some cases, in rare cases actually, you can have your non-recurrent laryngeal nerve. So, wala ko nagibutang, pero take note lang, it's more common on the right, around 1%. So some would present with a non-recurrent laryngeal nerve in the right. So their insertion would be along the cricothyroid muscle and then supplies your internal, intrinsic laryngeal muscles. Sige, so kani, it innervates all intrinsic laryngeal muscle except your cricothyroid. And also your recurrent is not just motor. They also supply general sensation from the glottis, kani, down to the subglottis. Sige. So I think that's it for the anatomy sa neck. Any questions before we proceed? Para ma-clarify?
None so far, Doc.
None so far. Sige. Let's move on sa deep neck infection. Medyo clinical ni siya, pero hopefully paspas sa taan. There. Okay ra ba? So far, wala rin nalibog ang mga tao. Ay, kamusta yung exam day? Sorry. Nag-exam na mo?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Okay ra? Di naman lisod, no? May mong tubag.
Lisod kayo.
Lisod. Kan
Okay
Dr.
na,
Baro.
Doc.
Okay ra? Kan Dr. Barona may lisod siguro. No? Sige. So next, paspasataan ni deep neck infection and its management. Sige. So commonly, kani makitaan gini ninyo sa OPD kanang mga neglected cases. So let's start. Deep neck infection. So still remains a potentially life-threatening condition in both your children and also your adult patients. So common the kanang ang location of the infection no may provide no asa ang kuan origin sa infection. And also you should apply what you learned sa mga different fascial plane in order to know their route of spread no and their complications. So etiology. So for pediatric patients, usually no infectious or inflammatory sa upper aerodigestive tract. So primary cause na siya sa mga pediatric patient. While for adult patients, usually it's odontogenic or yung mga neglected na mga dental caries, no? So for kato, as mentioned, pediatric, so usually it would present first with rhinosinusitis, tonsillitis, or even pharyngitis. Then it will lead na to your deep neck infections, so your retropharyngeal. So this is due to pedia patients, no? Going back, they have lots of lymph nodes. So if you could recall, dagko kayo lang mga nodes and also reactive compared to the adults wherein your lymph nodes are already ninggamay na, no? And sometimes you can have foreign bodies no, trapped within the upper airway, which can also cause infection and even superficial na mga skin infections. Okay, so for microbiology for deep neck infection, since the oral mouth no hugaw man gina siya, so it's polymicrobial. So in this table, so this is just the common na mga gram positive and gram negative na mga bacteria and even anaerobic. So any deep neck infection, wala gud na siya isolated bacteria nga usara. Usually daghan na sila. Then what's important lang is to know the different the ongoing concern sa mga bacterial resistance, no? So commonly would be your MRSA or your methicillin resistant Staph aureus. So they have come to be more common na sa pediatric patients. So before we go to your deep neck infections, so let's start with the basic, no, the different spaces sa imong head and neck. So let's start with the maxillary space. For your maxillary space, you have two spaces, right? Your canine and also your buccal. So let's start with your canine space. So it is located no, between the anterior surface of the maxilla and also the levator labii superiors or your lips. Okay. So commonly infected or origins of tooth would be your canine. Okay. Wherein your canine or the apical infection would reach no, this space. Mo nang magpundok na ang abscess ngani or mag-start ang infection here. So clinically, they would present with swelling no, in the lips or your superior or upper lip. So and also mawala ang imuhang normal na nasolabial folds. Itong hubag na kay na siya. Okay? And you can often see fluctuants or appreciate fluctuants. And then sometimes patients will also present with a spontaneous na mga opening or draining na ang discharge. So usual management, drainage no, intraorally para ma-relieve ang pressure and also ma-drain ang abscess. So next would be your buccal space. So this space lies between the buccinator muscle. So this is your muscle, buccinator. So this is a coronal cut no, view. Then the teeth involved would be your maxillary molar teeth. Kaning. So any infection would result to accumulation or spread through this space. So this space is ovoid, no? Then mag-extend na siya superiorly to your zygomatic arch and above the inferior border of your mandible. So clinical presentation, hubag si ate, no? Hubag ang naong. Kani. So kani superiorly moabot gid siya and oftentimes it can lead to periorbital na mga cellulitis which is nag-start lang ta siya ngani. So buccal or cheek swelling. Then due to the swelling, some patients would also present with trismus no? Or inability to open the mouth. So next, let's go to the mandibular, so inferior na kuan group. So for your mandibular space, so they are primary spaces to which ang imong mandibular teeth no would also be the kuan etiology. So we have three spaces: your submental, submandibular, and also your sublingual space. So let's start with the submental space. Unsa ni nga triangle gani? Yung submental space. Let's go back to the kuan anatomy. Unsa ni nga triangle? Naraspangan.
Submental triangle.
Submental triangle. Oh. Unsay contents niya? What can be found in the submental triangle? Maunang natay double chin. Fats, and your level 1 A nga nodes. Okay? Nabay ko na laterality ang level 1 A? Wala. Oh, wala. Sige. Very good. Sige. So for submental space, so in between na siya sa mong anterior belly sa digastric. So both your left and your right. So common teeth involved no would be your infected na mga mandibular incisors. So isolated na mga submental space is uncommon. Usually ma-affect na siya if na kay mga submandibular and also your sublingual na mga spaces. So example would be kaning no swelling. Sige, next let's go to the other spaces sa mandible. So before that, this is a good illustration no of Cummings. So this line is your mylohyoid line. Okay? So this is the attachment of your mylohyoid muscle. So at this illustration, take note nga ang kaning root sa imuhang last two molars, your third and your second, di ba? Tanawa. Are they superior or inferior sa mylohyoid line? Unsa man? Asa man sila located? Up or down sa mylohyoid line?
Up, doc.
Up. Dili. Ay, down. Ni-reach siya sa down, no? Naka-pierce siya. No, inferiorly. Kaniyo? While ang imuhang first molar and your premolars, they are superior to the mylohyoid line. No? So why? Unsa yung importance ana? So kana inya nang makuan for the succeeding slides, no? So take note lang kani, this is an important good nga kuan structure, the mylohyoid line. So infections above this line affect primarily your sublingual space. Kani, this is your sublingual space. So infection, premolars or first molar, confined na siya sa sublingual. While if you have infections or caries dentition sa second and third molar, it could reach your submandibular space. Kana. Kay tungod naka-pierce inferiorly sa mylohyoid line ang ilang root, no? Sa imuhang teeth or sa dentition. So let's start with the sublingual space. So this space lies between the lingual oral mucosa and your mylohyoid muscle. Okay? So this space is also connected posteriorly to the other muscles. So there's always chance of spread of infection. Okay? So any presentation, no, any clinical presentation for infection sa sublingual would be extraoral swelling. Ay kanang intraoral swelling. So less likely patients would present with extraoral or external na mga swelling. Okay? And then take note, if bilateral ang involvement, left and right, it would lead or it would produce a deviation sa tongue posteriorly, thereby making swallowing and even breathing difficult. So again, it is an emergency if ma-deflect posteriorly ang imuhang tongue. So next would be your submandibular space. So this space is between your mylohyoid muscle and also your skin. Okay? And same with your sublingual space, your submandibular space is also connected posteriorly to the other deep neck spaces. So spread gyapon sa infection. Okay? So presentation of your submandibular space, external, no, compared to your sublingual, which is intraoral. So external swelling. See. So next, kani, this is a table from Cummings, lifted from Cummings, of the different deep neck spaces. So I won't expect you to memorize all of those, pero it's good to familiar to kuan lang, to know lang, no, the different spaces. And again, no, bisa sa libro, they still have boundaries and also your contents and where they communicate with the different na mga spaces. Sige. So also this is a common scenarios where an infection starts and then spreads to your deep neck spaces. So yan read through it lang gyapon, pero I won't expect you to kuan lang, to memorize. Sige. So next, let's go to kuan Ludwig's angina. So Ludwig's angina happens when all three mandibular spaces are affected. Okay? Ludwig's angina is not an abscess. Take note, it is a bilateral gangrenous cellulitis. So when we say cellulitis, so whenever you do aspiration, it would yield negative. So no abscess, it's just cellulitis. However, this is still an emergency because it can extend posteriorly, to the deep neck spaces, and it's also mixed and polymicrobial. And then you need to detect it, ASAP to have your urgent na mga na intervention because it is in airway obstruction man, and it can lead to death. Okay, so usual presentation would be una, neglected na mga dental infection, gidala-dala lang, and then mga few days after ning hubag na ang neck, then fever, pain, drooling, dyspnea, trismus, no, and tachypnea, dyspnea kana. Thereby note ko mga airway na mga symptoms. So next, your parapharyngeal space. It is another common deep neck na space, which also gets involved in pediatric cases. So for parapharyngeal space, it is an inverted pyramid in shape, extending superiorly from the skull base inferiorly to the hyoid bone. So this communicates with many of the other spaces in the head and neck. And then your parapharyngeal space is separated by your styloid process into two components, your pre-styloid and also your post-styloid component. So this space is along the territory of your facial nerve and also your skull base. So important lang, your post-styloid, know your post-styloid compartment because you have important structures within that space. So one would be your vascular, IJV, and also your carotid artery, carotid, IJV, and then your mga nervous structures, your sympathetic chain, and also your cranial nerve, kani 9 to 12. Okay, so any infection occurring at this space could lead to an infected thrombus in the IJV and even carotid artery aneurysm. And they can often present with Horner syndrome and other cranial nerve palsy. See, another space would be your retropharyngeal space. So retro meaning back no sa imong pharynx. So kaning number 3. So this is your retropharyngeal space located in the midline posterior to the pharynx and esophagus. So its extent superiorly from the skull base to the level of the second thoracic vertebra. So naog yapon. And then usually you have lymph nodes located in this space, commonly pediatric, and connected siya sa kuan, imong sinuses, nasopharynx, and also your Waldeyr's ring. Okay? So balik niya siya nga kuan, illustration of the different spaces. So for your retropharyngeal kani, no, retropharyngeal space. And then take note, ang imong retropharyngeal space can be has laterality. Okay? So during CT scan, if you can see that the bulge is just in the left or right, makaingon jud nga retropharyngeal. Compared if you have a kuan ano prevertebral na mga abscess wherein wala goy space ay walay laterality. Okay. So one way to know if there's abscess or cellulitis in the retropharyngeal space is to have an X-ray. So you can see second kayo ang imong retropharyngeal space. So infections here are primarily seen in children, secondary to lymphoid tissue, which is regress in adults. So less likely magka-retropharyngeal space abscess ka. Next one, your dangerous space, or also known as your alar space. So actually, your alar fascia is posterior to the retropharyngeal space and the only barrier from spread to the danger space. So they can communicate, no, going to the mediastinum, and it can lead to mediastinitis. Dreaded na siya nga complication na. So for your alar space, so this is your alar fascia. Posterior to it would be your alar space. So kanimo ni siya ang alar space ha. So from the skull base, maabot gid siya padung sa mediastinum. Next would be your carotid space or your carotid sheath. So this is another space wherein infection could spread up to the mediastinum. So there are only two spaces. One would be your alar space, and next would be your carotid space. This is also known as your Lincoln Highway. So this one, no, kani mga infection padung sa imuhang common carotid artery. Asa man sila padung, di ba, sa heart magyapon na common carotid. So padung gid gyapon sa mediastinum. Sige, we're halfway through now. So let's go to clinical evaluation. So take note, you should know the different symptoms of your DNI, deep neck infection. Usually they start with odontogenic infection, sometimes ATP, tonsillopharyngitis, and even rhinitis. Always try to elicit. Okay, so these are the common symptoms. So I think dili kayo mo familiar aning hot potato voice. Pero asa man ni makitaan gani ang hot potato voice? Unsa nga kuan? Abscess?
Peritonsillar abscess. Doc.
Very good, no? Your peritonsillar abscess kanang hot potato voice. Actually, pag make na ko ani nga PowerPoint kay timing nagi pasyente nga nag-peritonsillar abscess. So kana pertinent yung kayo ng hot potato. Sige. Next would be during once you know the symptoms, always try to elicit gapon atong basics, onset, duration, associated symptoms, and kani mga previous na mga surgeries, no? Dental or upper airway or bisan mga previously intubated patients. And trauma, no? Where foreign bodies can be stuck, so pwede sad na siya source for infection. And even medication, no? Intravenous drugs. And then kani important would be try to elicit your past medical history. Most common patients with DNI have immunodeficiency state. So DM, HIV, no? Or kanang mga nag-steroids, kanang mga patients with organ transplant, no, nana sila yung mga kuan, or even yung mga patients nga nag chemotherapy, they are immunocompromised, so they could also present with your DNI. Okay? So physical examination, kani learn to distinguish cellulitis from abscess. Okay? So for your cellulitis, there is tenderness. Actually, in abscess, there's also tenderness. But the difference is the area of it, kuan, where it affects. Usually for cellulitis, it's still diffuse, no? Wala kayo siya localization compared to your abscess wherein it's localized. And then one clinching good is your presence of your fluctuants. Abscess you have, cellulitis you don't have. Then if you're really kuan, you're not sure whether it's cellulitis or abscess, you can do your needle aspiration. So for cellulitis, it's right up, while for your abscess, you can have positive discharge or a wet tap. So so the difference of the two, no, between the two. So this is your cellulitis, while this is your abscess. It's more prominent and localized ang abscess. Sige. So for physical exam, always do your complete head and neck examination. Otoscopic, don't forget, pwede gapon na siya. Ear infection, oral cavity examination, and then your trismus and your limitation of mouth opening. Take note lang, akong i-mention lang ani ang trismus, okay? Trismus is mouth opening less than 1.5 cm. While your limitation of mouth opening is 1.5 to 2.5 cm. Then your normal mouth opening would be 2.5 above. Okay? So any trismus or limitation of mouth opening could indicate spread of infection to your parapharyngeal space. Then always do your dental examination. Then always rule out good when you do your physical exam, kaning edema of the floor, which may cause posterior deflection of the oral tongue. Always, know the state of the airway of the patient because mo na pinaka-important. Then you can also do your assessment of the different ducts, Stenson's and Wharton's duct. So going back ng mga sialodenitis, they could also present as initial na mga infection leading to deep neck infection. No, kani oropharynx examination, take note of the asymmetry of your uvula. Pwede siya mo-present sa imuhang peritonsillar abscess, and also do your complete cranial nerve examination, eye examination. And then if na ENT, we always do our awake flexible fiber optic examination to really investigate the state or the status of the airway of the patient. Sige. And one thing to take notes is don't rely on your pulse oximetry. Actually, mo na ni siya ang wrong gid bitaw. Apil gid sa inyong vital signs, sa mga clerks ako na-observe is ang pulse ox. Actually, your pulse ox is not part of your vital signs, ha? And ayaw gid ko, don't rely it if 99 pagyapon because oxygen saturation is a poor indicator of airway status. So even if kanang mga 80% na ang blockage, O2 would still fall normal. So don't be confident sa inyong pulse ox. Then let's go to the laboratory evaluation. So always basic labs for your infection, CBC, your C-reactive protein, and also your other labs, electrolytes, creatinine, glucose level. Actually, your complete blood count and your C-reactive protein can be used to monitor the progression of your deep neck infection. Then next would be your imaging studies. Your plain film radiography, always go to the basics lang gihapon. Actually, ang kaning panoramic, this is not a basic na plain film. Usually, makita ni siya sa mga dentist, Pero it's very helpful because we could see any cyst, or the status of your tooth roots. Okay. The next would be your lateral neck, your soft tissue lateral, vital kani siya. in punpun if moonlighting mo, your lateral neck, no, could also give a status of your airway, your soft tissue lateral. And next would be your chest radiography, and then also your paranasal sinuses, no, for sinusitis. So this one, panoramic X-ray, you could identify the source of the infection. So, for example, with this, no, you have a cyst or sana, radiolucency. So this can be, an apical cyst. And then also your salivary stones can also be detected on your X-ray more than 5 mm. So this is your soft tissue lateral or your neck STL. So this quickly evaluates your upper aerodigestive tract in cases of suspected retropharyngeal abscess. So any air fluid level or any thickening on the prevertebral tissue at the level of C2 could indicate a retropharyngeal abscess until proven otherwise. So we always make it a routine to measure the this area. So C2 going to the airway. Usually, for a child, if it's more than 5 mm, high likely it is retropharyngeal. And also in adults, it's more than 7 mm. Okay? So this is your airway, no? Trachea, larynx. So kana. So aside from thickness, actually your soft tissue lateral could also give you the thumbprint sign. Okay? So this would denote a supraglottitis or your epiglottitis. So kani, Marshall thumb. So this is your epiglottis. So imagine your airway, it's blocking your airway. It should not be blocking anta. Okay? But due to the swelling, it could also cause airway symptoms, no? Or airway compromise. So let's go to a higher imaging study, your computed tomography or CT scan, which remains to be a standard, no, or gold standard of radiographic technique for evaluation of your DNI. So physical exam alone misidentifies the involved space and the number of involved spaces in 70% of cases. So we always rely if it's available for your CT scan. And it can also direct you where and how to approach, or drain any deep neck infection or abscess. So we always prefer it with contrast, kaya maklaro kayo ng abscess. And then, however, it cannot reliably differentiate between edema of phlegmon versus your purulent nga abscess. So this is an example of a retropharyngeal abscess, no? Kaning lucencies, kaning density, no? Kaning hypodensity, black, gray. So this is an example of a retropharyngeal abscess. And then kaning, if you can appreciate this, these are your great vessels, jugular vein, carotid, no? So when you give contrast, your vascular structures would always it would brighten, no? Sige. So this is another view of a retropharyngeal abscess, no? You can appreciate the presence of your abscess and also it's not pero na yung mga air fluid levels. Okay? So imagine, imagine the airway status of this patient, no? Maglisod na giniginawa. Sige. So let's go to MRI. So it's not routinely used for your DNI. We always prefer our CT scan. But in some cases, you do MRI lang to evaluate your major vessels of the neck. So for complications wherein you have your suppurative na mga thrombus, no? You can always do your MRI and also with angiography. See, so let's go to the management. We're almost done. So always good ang airway management. So before you go to your other na mga examination, take note lang yun ang airway sa patient. Okay? Because it's the major source of your mortality. So what areas to check, if you have an compromised airway would be your floor of the mouth, actually your tongue, and also your parapharyngeal space and your retropharyngeal space. Okay. So initial evaluation is best done actually with your fiber optic flexible examination. So first line therapy usually is done for patients with airway obstruction of less than 50%. No? So what we do, we give oxygenation, face stent, sometimes sa mga public could be your nasal cannula, steroids. No? It could relieve the swelling, and also even epinephrine nebulizers, particularly for kanang mga epiglottitis. However, for severe cases wherein the obstruction is more than 50%, so wherein patients would present with stridor na. So as much as possible, always do your awake na fiber optic intubation. So this is a flexible scope. And if you can see, the intubation tube is attached to the scope. So the scope is passed through the nasal cavity, going to the nasopharynx, and then going to your airway, larynx. Once the tube reaches your cervical trachea na, then the anesthesiologist would push kaninga tube inside from the nasal cavity going uh, to the larynx. So bali ang imuhang scope would stand as a guide sa tube para sure gyud nga diretso sa airway mo reach and ma-secure ang airway. So after intubation, sometimes if the patient cannot be weaned from neck vent, so more than 24 to 48 hours, then some surgeons would elect to convert it to tracheostomy. Or sometimes if you have planned surgeries or evacuation wherein patient could not protect his or her airway, then we also do our tracheostomy. So aside sa airway, always check for the hydration status of your patient. So always note for dehydration because sometimes patient would come in at the emergency room with trismus, dysphagia. So they're gonna have a hard time for fluid intake or even kaon. So always detect signs of dehydration for you to correct any imbalances. And then this would also help you prevent any post-operative or intra-operative na mga complications due to dehydration. So next, antibiotic therapy. So since as mentioned before, most DNI would be polymicrobial. So we always do our empiric na mga antibiotics. So culture is not required before empiric antibiotic therapy. Then it's usually involved mixed flora. So this is lifted from Cummings. So the common na mga antibiotics initiated. So try to familiarize lang ha. Okay. So when do we step up mga empiric therapy? So actually we start our medical management for abscesses less than 2.5 cm in diameter and involves only a single neck space. So we give it time or trial of empiric, so 48 to 72 hours. So in general, patients should be kept NPO and closely monitored for changes in clinical status. So you can do your serial na mga CBC and even C-reactive na mga test. Then patients requiring surgery usually need 48 to 72 hours of IV antibiotics post-op prior to discharging home on oral therapy. So when do we do our surgical na management? So these are 4 circumstances lifted from Cummings. So 1, if you have air fluid level. So this air fluid level in your imaging would indicate a gas-producing organism. So this type of organisms would really have a high tendency to infect or to reach other deep neck spaces. So second, threatened airway compromise from abscess or your phlegmon. Third would be your failure to respond to the trial of empiric IV antibiotics. And fourth would be the presence of complications of your deep neck infection. So the main goals of your surgical intervention include one would be to provide a fluid or tissue sample for staining and also culture, so that along the line your antibiotic therapy would be kanang culture directed. And then next would be to provide no therapeutic irrigation of the infected body cavity while establishing a stable external drainage pathway to prevent the reaccumulation of your abscess. So most of the time, we leave some drains sa ato ang mga access sa neck, no? So to prevent the incision from closing para nagyapoy drainage sa imong kuan. So how do we do our surgical management? So there are different ways. So one would be our needle aspiration. So with a large bore needle lang. So kana. So this is suffice for small abscesses lang contained within the lymph node or even acute infections lang sa imong mga congenital cyst. So another one would be your transoral incision and drainage. So for peritonsillar abscess, and even kanang mga floor of the mouth ng mga abscess. Okay? So however, this can't be done sa pediatric, no, one na awake. So for awake ng mga cases, ang imuhang intraoral can be done for adults lang. Sometimes if you have odontogenic infections, so for your mga alveolus, no, you can also do your intraoral. Sige. Next would be your transcervical incisions and drainage. So kani external na ni siya sa imong neck. So this is done. This is a traditional surgical approach. Then you can have multiple openings, 1 or 4 potential incision. But always direct your incision kanang through gravity ba para continuous ang drainage imong incision. And then most of the time they have a good cosmetic healing lang sad sa imong incision. Sige, I think that's it. That's the end of my presentation. Yeah. Any questions? Wala ra? Sige. So for next week, we're gonna have a face-to-face sa ato ang mga neoplasm sa neck. Pero read ahead na lang sa imong thyroid neoplasm, mga cancer o mga benign cases, and then management. And also mag-demo sa physical examination sa neck. Face-to-face, ah? Sige, I think that's
Yes,
it.
Doc.
Naray mga questions before we end?
None, Doc.
Sige. So thank you for your attention, and then I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
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 Sige.